Hi everybody, this is Ernie Ferguson with Ernie's America. Well, I got a couple of more really good emails. I'm not sure where some of these come from. I don't have the authors, but some of them are so good I think that they deserve more than just an email around to a few friends. So that's why I'm putting them on some of these YouTube messages. So I'm going to get right to it. And it simply states that you cannot get the water clear up. Or pardon me, you cannot get the water to clear up until you get the pigs out of the creek. Some of you may appreciate this, and some of you may not. And I'm not going to apologize for forwarding this or talking about it, because all of it is the truth. If any other of our presidents had doubled the national debt, which had taken more than 2 centuries to accumulate in 1 year, would you have approved? If any other of our presidents had then proposed to double the debt again within 10 years, would you have approved? If any other of our presidents had criticized a state law that he admitted he had never even read, would you think that he is just an ignorant hothead? If any other of our presidents had joined the country of Mexico and sued the state in the United States to force that state to continue to allow illegal immigrations, would you question his patriotism and wonder whose side he was on? If any other of our presidents had pronounced the Marine Corps like Marine Corpse, would you think him an idiot? If any other of our presidents had put 87,000 workers out of work by arbitrarily placing a moratorium on offshore oil drilling on companies that have one of the best safety records of any in the industry because of one foreign company had an accident, would you have agreed with that? Probably not. If any other of our presidents had used a forged document as the basis of a moratorium that would render 87,000 American workers unemployed, would you support him? If any other of our presidents had been the first president to need a teleprompter installed to be able to get through a press conference, would you have laughed and said, this is more proof of how inept he is on his own and is really controlled by smarter men behind the scenes? If any other president or any other of our presidents had spent hundreds of thousands of dollars to take his first lady to a play in New York City, would you have approved? If any other of our presidents had reduced your retirement plan, your holdings of GM stock by 90%, and given the unions a majority stake in GM, would you have approved that? Probably not. If any other of our presidents had made a joke at the expense of the Special Olympics, would you have approved? If any other of our presidents had given Gordon Brown a set of inexpensive and incorrectly formatted DVDs when Gordon Brown had given him a thoughtful and historical significant gift, would you have approved? If any other of our presidents had given the Queen of England an iPod containing videos of his speeches, would you have thought it to be a proud moment in America? If any other of our presidents had bowed to the King of Saudi Arabia, would you have approved? If any of our presidents had visited Austria and made reference to the non-existent Austrian language, would you have brushed it off as a minor slip? If any other of our presidents had filled his cabinet with a circle of advisors with people who cannot seem to keep current in their income taxes, would you have approved? If any other of our presidents had stated that there were 57 states in the United States, wouldn't you have had a little bit of a second thought about his capabilities? If any other of our presidents would have flown all the way to Denmark to make a 5-minute speech about how the Olympics would benefit him walking out his front door in his hometown, would you have not thought he was a self-important, conceited, egotistical jerk? If any other of our presidents had been so Spanish illiterate as to refer to Cinco de Cuatro in front of the Mexican ambassador, when it was actually the 5th of May, which is Cinco de Mayo, and continued to flub it when he tried again, wouldn't you have been and maybe winced a little bit in embarrassment? If any other of our presidents had buried 9,000 gallons of jet fuel, or had burned, 9,000 gallons of jet fuel to go plant a single tree on Earth Day, would you have concluded that he's a hypocrite? If any other of our presidents' administrations had okayed Air Force One flying low over millions of people, followed by a jet fighter in downtown Manhattan, causing widespread panic, would you have wondered where they if they actually got what happened on 9/11? If any other of our presidents had failed to send relief aid to flood victims throughout the Midwest, with more people killed or made homeless than in New Orleans, would you want it made into a major ongoing political issue with claims of racism and incompetence? If any other of our presidents had created the position of 37 czars who report directly to him, bypassing the House, the Senate, and much of what is happening in America, would you have ever approved that? If any other of our presidents had ordered the firing of the CEO of a major corporation, even though he had no constitutional authority to do so, would you have approved that? So tell me again, what is it about Obama that makes him so brilliant and so damned impressive? I can't think of anything, but don't worry. He's done all this in 39 months. So you don't have to count that much time to come up with the answer. Every statement in this email is actual and directly attributed to Barack Hussein Obama. Every bumbling moment is a matter of record and completely verifiable. And now he actually wants you and me to re-elect him. I think we need to wake up, America. 2012 is upon us. I can't afford in my life to take a chance on this guy for another 4 years. And remember the famous quote that all it takes for evil to triumph is for good men to do nothing. That's an email I got from a friend. I don't know who the author was, but I thought I'd better pass it on. Here's another instance of Mr. Obama and his love of the Muslim race and all the Muslims. He was talking about politics is supposed to be the second oldest profession. And I also have come to realize that it bears a very close resemblance to the first Ronald Reagan. And he talked about the Muslim heritage in America. I didn't think there was one, but here's what this writer came up with. Have you ever been to a Muslim hospital, heard a Muslim orchestra, seen a Muslim band march in a parade, witnessed a Muslim charity, shaken hands with a Muslim Girl Scout? Have you seen a Muslim candy striper? Or seen a Muslim do anything that contributes positively to the American way of life? The answer is no, you did not. Just ask yourself why. Barack Obama, during his Cairo speech, said, I know, too, that Islam has always been a part of American history. Well, this is an American citizen's response. Dear Mr. Obama, were those Muslims that were in America when the Pilgrims first landed? Funny, I thought they were Native Americans. Were those Muslims that celebrated their first Thanksgiving Day? Sorry again, those were Pilgrims and American Indians. Can you show me one Muslim signature on the United States Constitution? The Declaration of Independence? Maybe the Bill of Rights? I didn't think so. Did Muslims fight for this country's freedom from England? No. Did Muslims fight during the Civil War to free the slaves of America? No, they did not. In fact, Muslims to this day are still the largest traffickers in human slavery. Your own half-brother, Mr. Obama, a devout Muslim, still advocates slavery himself, even though Muslims of Arabic descent refer to black Muslims as pug-nosed slaves. It says a lot what the Muslims would really think of your family's rich Islamic heritage. Huh, Mr. Obama? Where were the Muslims during the civil rights era of this country? They weren't present. There are no pictures or media accounts of Muslims walking side by side with Martin Luther King Jr. or helping to advance the cause of civil rights. Where were Muslims during this country's women's suffrage era? Again, not present. In fact, devout Muslims demand that the women are subservient to all men in the Islamic culture. So much so that often they are beaten for not wearing a hijab, or for talking to a man who's not a direct family member or their husband. Yep, the Muslims are all for women's rights, aren't they? Where were the Muslims during World War II? They were aligned with Adolf Hitler. The Muslim Grand Mufti himself met with Adolf Hitler, reviewed the troops, and accepted support from the Nazis in killing Jews. And finally, Mr. Obama, where were the Muslims on September 11th, 2001? If they weren't flying planes in the World Trade Center, the Pentagon, or a field in Pennsylvania, killing nearly 3,000 people on our own soil, they were rejoicing in the Middle East. No one can dispute the pictures shown from all parts of the Muslim world, celebrating on CNN, Fox News, MSNBC, and other cable news networks that day. Strangely, the very moderate Muslims whose asses you bent over backwards to kiss in Cairo, Mr. Obama, in Egypt on June 4th, were stone-cold silent post 9/11. To many Americans, their silence has meant approval for the acts of that day. And that, Mr. Obama, is the rich heritage Muslims have here in America. Oh, and I'm sorry, I forgot to mention the Barbary pilots. They were Muslim. And now we can add November 5th, 2009, the slaughter of American soldiers at Fort Hood by a Muslim major who is a doctor and a psychiatrist who was supposed to be counseling soldiers returning from battle in Iraq and Afghanistan. That, Mr. Obama, is the Muslim heritage in America. Thank you. And in closing, this man had to say, Muslim heritage my ass. And if you don't share this message with your friends, you're probably part of the problem.